Why should I think of the edit? G'day crew, and welcome back to the Do Video Podcast, where our aim is to get you and your business genuinely connecting with your customers through the best method at the moment, video. Because you can see my lovely face and you can trust me like a human being. That went a bit weird there. I'm Zoe, the Video Confidence Coach, your guide on today's journey as to the title of this episode, why you should think of the edit. Or think of the edit was how I actually called it. So the term think of the edit is a common phrase in the video editing, video shooting, filmmaking, general industry that I'm in. And the reason it's a term, and it's used fairly often, is make it easier for yourself when it comes to editing. Always make it easier for your future self if you're the one editing. If you're handing it over to someone else to edit, they would appreciate it if you made it easier for them as well. So the way this can be done is a few ways, and depending on if you're editing it yourself or if someone else is editing it for you, you can be a little bit different in the way you're going to edit. And if you're going to edit on a desktop computer using like iMovie or Video Vault or Video something else, one of those desktop ones, or Adobe, or if you have access to those type of things, or doing it on your mobile phone using the tutorials that we've made for you, wink wink nudge nudge, but using like InShot or Powder or one of those other ones. But the reason that you want to do this to yourself is to be able to make it easier for you. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips, starting off with the mobile stuff and then doing it for desktop and for editor stuff. So we'll start off with the ones that you do inside the video, and then we'll go on to what to do before, during, and after. So what to do inside the video. I always find it especially helpful when you're working with an editor, or when you're working even with editing yourself, is if you ever stuff up, pause and start again. The reason you're pausing is because it's a lot harder for you to try and edit it like you're talking, and then if you stop and then just go again, you'll notice that when you're in a different position than you were before. And for people who are watching the podcast, you know that happens every couple of seconds because that's my editing style for this podcast. But when you're trying to make it look seamless, it's kind of hard. And when you have gone from a full sentence being spoken at the pace that you prefer it, and then it drops down, drops back up, or even it drops back higher, so you're talking faster because you're frustrated with yourself, it's kind of jarring. People are okay with it most of the time, but if it happens too often, the pace of the video, or when you watch something or hearing the music, the pace can be a bit off and can be a bit too confronting for viewers, and they may get turned off unless your content is really, really good. Not saying that your content won't be, but just in case it's not holding on to that person's attention like a vice grip. Another thing that you can also do when working with yourself or even working with editors is the utilization of claps. So when you start something or finish something, I like to clap. It does a couple of things. In the audio, it peaks up as a large wave. Wave is what audio comes in when it comes into a file. Looks very much like this. And clap, zooming in, looks like this. So it's compared to all the other audio pieces, it's quite loud, it's quite obvious, and when you're working with an editor or working with yourself and you have the ability using your editing apps to actually see this wave format, you'll be able to actually use it and say, okay, that's where I started, or that's when I stuffed up so many times and then I was able to start again, and I'm using this clap as my reference point. That's quite useful for yourself, but also when working with editors. A little bit of an add-on to that clapping method is to leave yourself notes, or leave the editor notes. So you can talk to them as if you're talking to a human being. So I've done this plenty of times myself. Cut to an example, Zoe. Okay, Zoe. All right, so this is the episode lines. And that example showcases that I'm talking to myself as if I am a real person. Hopefully these videos and podcasts have shown you that I'm a real person. But the videos, you can see that after the clap or before the clap, I've left myself notes to remember in the future when I've mentioned about, hey Zoe, I want to stop and start this here, or I want to move this around here, because I'm thinking about the edit now, and if I don't say anything to myself or I just hope I remember it, it's not going to happen. It's like when you leave yourself, or when you try to do a lot of tasks without writing a to-do list, you feel under a lot of pressure and your brain is working extra hard to try and remember everything. And if you just wrote a to-do list, it's going to be a lot easier for yourself. And that's the same thing here. If you can leave yourself verbal notes, or if you have the ability to write stuff down as you're going along, if you've got that time and luxury, then you can use that for your future self to be able to say, hey Zoe, around this point I did a sneeze, cut that out. For whatever reason. As long as you can provide that to your editor, or remember to keep that by your side when you're editing your video, it's going to be a lot smoother for you. And now let's move on before you actually do your video. So those methods that I talked to you just before are the ones that you use while you're shooting, while you're thinking of stuff. If you're doing something a little bit ad hoc, like I usually do here with these podcasts, is going to be... The words I'm trying to say is that it's going to keep going a little bit. But what you do before you start doing your videos, as well as everything that else we've talked at Video Confidence Coach, is I want you to close your eyes. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. And just visualize how you want your setup to be. Are you standing up or sitting down? Is your back straight? If you're standing, are your feet shoulder width apart? Looking at the camera lens, what can you see around the camera lens? Are you using your phone, or are you using a camera of some sort? Is it on a ring light, or is it just on a tripod? Or even just on a shelf, or something of that nature? What light can you see around you? Is it from a window? Is it from larger lights? Or is it just from the light that's above you? Where are you filming? Are you filming in your bedroom, in your office? Where are you filming? And then what does it sound like? Can you hear a bit of the kids or the dogs outside? Or cats, if you have cats. Do you hear anyone else around? Do you hear the air conditioner going? What do you hear? Open your eyes. The reason I went through that little exercise with you is that it helps you visualize and familiarize yourself with what's about to happen. You're about to shoot a video. You prepare yourself mentally and physically for what's about to happen, what you're about to do. This does a few things, but this makes you feel a lot more relaxed and a lot more, not content is the right term, but it makes you feel a lot more prepared to go in to shooting a video, because you've already visualized what's going to happen around you. You already understand what's going to happen before you even do it. And therefore, it's going to be a lot easier for you to actually finally do it when you do it. Another thing to do before you press record on your camera or phone is utilizing the quick script. Yes, it is a downloadable and you can download it below. A quick script is the foundation piece of Video Confidence Coach and Mantra. But the quick script that you can see here essentially allows you to have your script, be it fully written out or dot points is what we recommend, but to be able to have stuff written out on a page so you can keep referring to it while you're filming. But also it allows you to think ahead as to what you're actually going to talk about. So you, in our quick script, just a quick run over, you have the message at the top. Message usually refers to what the person watching the video is going to get out of it, and also refers to a hook. Underneath, we have the 3 topics. So the 3 topics help explain the message as to how did you get to your opinion? 1, 2, 3, this is how I got here. And then underneath you have your call to action. What do you want people to do once they watch this video? Where do they go next? Where can people find you if they've found you on YouTube and that's not their preferred platform? Where can they find more about you? Such and such and such. And a sign off, making sure people know it's the end of the video, that it's finished, and move on to the rest of your content. Ta-da! But the reason this is helpful, as I said before, is it helps you think about what you're actually going to, what you're actually going to talk about. But it helps you break down what you're going to talk about. As in, are you going to talk about, okay, this is my message. Okay, this is how I'm going to break it down into nice sizable chunks to make it easy for myself. And what am I going to get people to do next once they've watched the video? Have this stuff planned out before you hit record. And now we're going to move. No, we're not. We're going to go to a sponsor break, and then we're going to come back.
Geelong has always been a city of creators and makers and has a long history of design and technical prowess unrivaled in the region. Having a makerspace allows people like teachers and students to come work using specialized equipment and materials to design tools for the future. Specifically, students can come to our makerspace and learn how to use 3D printers, which are in high demand in the community and the region for jobs of the future.
Thank you, sponsor. So what we're focusing on now is when you're actually doing the video. So we've talked about what to do before. Now we're talking about when you're in it. So when you're in your video, always think of the edit by multiple takes. So when I say multiple takes, as in take the video that you're filming, say it's a 1 minute video and you're talking for 45 seconds. You can do it once, hit the finish recording, and that could be done, is okay. But for yourself in the future, if you've spent all this time getting everything ready, getting the lighting right, sitting yourself up correctly, and putting makeup on, if you so choose. As you can see, I do barely any, except for my lips, which are quite nice today, I must say. Focus, Zoe. But you spend all that time getting ready to film a video. Why not take a couple of shots at it? Maybe you don't like the way you sounded in that first take, but because you've only got one to work off, you're not screwed, but you've made it harder on yourself. So if you can take at least 3 takes of the same message, script, or what have you, you'll be able to give yourself different options. So say, for example, the intro of the second one was really strong, but I kind of fizzled out halfway through. But the ending of the third one was really strong. Well, you know what you do? Cut, put the start of the second one, end of the third one, boom, got a video. And I also find in the businesses that I run, for those who don't know, I run a videography company based in Geelong called Zebrafish Digital Media, where we do the stuff that we do here, but on a professional level, as in, we do all the stuff for you. Back to it. When I get people to answer questions, either in testimonial videos, or when I get people to do videos, I always make them do multiple takes. Not because they got the answer wrong, but when you first answer a question or when you first do a script, your brain is still working through, okay, how do I say this? What is the right way to say blah, 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 and you're finished. And if I get you to do it again, you've already gone through that brain power, and it's going to come out through your mouth, and, well, from your brain to your mouth, a lot easier than it was the first time. And if I get you to do it again the third time, you're going to change it up a bit naturally. Fourth time, you're going to do it again. You're going to change it up naturally, and it's going to give me, the editor, a lot more to work with than just having that one version and that being it, and like, ooh, okay, if something goes wrong with that one, we're screwed. Don't let that happen to yourself. So you finished your videos, you've done your multiple takes, everything's all good. You finish clicking record, and then now what? Well, the one thing you definitely need to do is watch your video back. Yes, it can be painful. Yes, it can be annoying. Watching your face and hearing your own voice. Oh, do I really sound like that? Do I really look like that? We're going to have to get over it. The reason you watch your footage back is because while you're in the room, like I said before, while you got everything set up and you put the effort of putting this together, check back to see if you like it. Was that second take okay? Are you happy with it? If you're not happy with it, then go through the process again. Sit back, put your phone together, put your camera on, click record, and just do it. And then if you don't watch it back, there's a good chance that something will go wrong and you didn't notice because you were busy trying to get the message out there. That's why you always think of the edit. Okay, so you've done that, you've checked it over, you've done multiple takes, you've watched all the videos, cool. Now what? Well, you do a few things. You, back up the footage. So the footage that you either got from your phone or your camera, you back it up onto your computer, back it up onto the cloud, back it up somewhere. Your phone is great, it's good, but it is also an object. I was about to say it's also a phone, but your phone is with you everywhere. Your camera, probably not as much, but it is still fallible. So you need to back up your footage. You spent so much time, effort preparing yourself for it. You did it. You did multiple takes. You back-checked and you did it again. Make sure you save it. So before you do any editing, make sure you always back it up. And this also helps in the editing process. So say, for example, if you do something, you edit and you've done something explicably wrong and you can't backtrack, well, then you just go to your backups and get them there. And one thing I want to mention for people who are working with editors, if you can organize your files for your editor, it's going to be a lot more helpful to them because they weren't there on the day, or if they were, hopefully. For most editors, they are not on the day of shooting. So when you film these videos, they're actually not there watching you or keeping an eye on you and what you do. So if you're able to organize if you're doing multiple videos in one go, which I highly recommend, it's called batching. We do have a video on that. Going through and just seeing, okay, this is the one that I want to take number 2 of, and then just put that in the name of the file. If you give people that stuff to work with, they're going to work wonders for you. Yay! You've reached the end of this Do Video podcast episode about thinking of the edit. So what I want you to do from here, as my call to action for you guys, is make sure you click the link below to our tutorials playlist, where you have tutorials on what you can do in all different processes of the prepare, the shoot, and the afterwards. Editing is what I meant to say. And to be able to follow those tutorials, make it easier for you to get your videos off the ground and online for people to see them. For a full list of sources, credits, and downloadables, feel free to check out the dovideopodcast.com website. Or if you enjoyed our chat, our podcast episode today, feel free to rate us and let people know how you liked us on your favourite podcasting app. Or if you're watching my beautiful face today, you're probably watching this on YouTube. So why don't you subscribe to us on YouTube? Oh, what a thought. Looking for something to listen to while you wait for another Do Video podcast? Well, I have a suggestion for you. Check out the Jack Delosa podcast from Jack Delosa. His podcast is perfect for entrepreneurs and small business owners, and his podcast usually consists of interviews, helpful tips, and step-by-step guides on how to achieve things in business. I believe Jack does run a school called The Entourage, which is a small business type school thing. I've had a few things with him. I'm not totally up with it, but as a speaker and what he talks about and what Jack has his knowledge from being in his industry for so long is going to be quite helpful to you. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or feedbacks, feel free to reach out to the Video Confidence Coach on our websites, on all our social medias, or on Google. We aim to help you however we can, and as the Video Confidence Coach, we do provide coaching. So if you want us to work specifically on your business and your marketing, you can just let us know via our individual coaching packages or our group coaching packages. I think we have one coming up soon. Thank you for engaging with me today, and don't forget to tell your crew about how they should think of the edit, even in daily life too. But mainly for videos, but in daily life too. Bye.